Last episode, I was joking. Well, not so much joking, but I was mentioning about being the first normal person who appears in Joe Rogan podcast. But well, man, it sounds funny now, but underneath, I mean, there is a lot of things that we can do. To be honest, that's how Joe Rogan started. It was just a lot of friends having a good time, joking, talking about martial arts. I remember back in the days when Joe Rogan used to have hair. But well, I don't think it's impossible, if you keep showing up, if you keep talking, like I'm here, and if we keep improving, maybe I have used more tools. Maybe also I should start getting some people to my podcast. Let's make my podcast something like the non-famous people podcast, the normal people podcast. Because at the end, I don't know if you know, but sometimes when you talk to people and if you pay attention closely to what they say, there's always interesting stories about people everywhere. I mean, of course, there's more interesting people than other. There's very basic people in the world. I mean, I have met many, but I'm sure that sometimes when you just really pay attention to people, you will find that a lot of people have really interesting things to say, not necessarily interesting lives, but well, maybe interesting lives as well. But well, eventually might happen. And I think about this, for example, about this guy, Derek, about more plates, more dates. I remember this guy was making videos in YouTube about, about training stuff. And then he started talking about hormones and TRT and whatnot. And then he became very specialized about it. Suddenly, years later, I saw him in the Joe Rogan podcast. So that was great. But I mean, what's the angle here is like sometimes things start like a stupid jokes or whatnot. Similar to when I started doing martial arts and karate. I was nearby the dojo with my friends after school before I joined, of course, and we always see these people running around with karate pajamas, I like to call. And then we say, oh man, would not be cool to go there? And then, I mean, there's a episode that I talk about this. And eventually I was there. So everything started with a joke about seeing people outside and then boom, it happened. Also, I would say maybe the power of the mind, sometimes when you say things out loud and repeat it, and it's not magic, but sometimes it happens. You just have to want them strong enough, I guess, really want them. And I guess that's the real lesson for everyone. It's about consistency. Joe Rogan started consistency, and and he did it. What brings me to the next point. Just this weekend, I was just outside in a competition event. I was not competing. It's called High Rocks. Let's come to that later. I was just walking around cheering for one of my friends. I was with Cheryl, and I was just walking. I saw a guy who looks familiar, and I just, oh, that guy looks just like Clark. So I called, hey, Clark, Clark. And then he saw me. He was with his boyfriend, or I don't know if he's married yet. So I just say hi. We talk about things here and there. What you doing? How's CrossFit going? Whatnot. And then he said, hey man, I put a like in one of your videos that you were talking about something in live. It was just like a random chat. And you talking about uh, I don't know. I don't know which episode he saw, but basically, yeah, the YouTube. I think I on YouTube I saw you just you were just talking or ranting. I'm like, oh man, thank you. I say, yeah, man, I'm just put a thumbs up there, just trying to support. And I was like, wow, that's great. And then at the end, he told me, I just keep doing it. You never know. Maybe you like it more. Maybe you can make it something big. But I mean, keep showing up, and that's what I'm doing now. And that's when sometimes it hits you. That these are the small moments, that make the difference, the things that count. That you think no one is watching, but because actually I was just checking just now on my phone. I was just checking my episodes about the Random Guy podcast, and I have like episodes from almost 10 years ago. I think the most popular one has about 175 views. Some of them, I think they have very nice, let's say, cinematics. I put some effort in some production. It was a different type of video. I was more into, I wanted to do something like kind of like Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon kind of thing. So I start to do more into the visuals and start to make some storytelling about things that I was doing or just random stuff. Like I made a video about a Lego that it was a motorcycle. But then if I see the amount of people who follow, I think it should have been growing if I should be putting more effort. Because if I see the latest episode, you just have like, I think 3 views, and I'm sure one is my view from one of my devices at least. Then the other one, I'm not sure. But that's the problem, because if I stop building the momentum, then people forget. But anyway, thank you, Clark, and funny how how things happen. So because of these things, I wonder that maybe I should be doing more, and then again, as I say, maybe do this the non-important people's podcast or something like that. Well, what brings to the next point. So where did I meet Clark? I was in this Hyrox competition. This Hyrox thing, if you have heard, people say like, oh man, so gay. Well, to be honest, sometimes I think it's just like a trend. I don't want to talk bad about it because I prefer people to do Hyrox than not doing anything. But it feels kind of like a plague, like a plague in a funny way. I mean, for good or for worse, like suddenly even my colleagues come and ask me at my office, or friends that I just go, friends of friend, they meet me and then we talk, and they know that we're pretty active. And they ask, hey, so are you competing in High Rocks? And I'm like, no. But it's funny because they never ask me, oh, are you competing in CrossFit? So people don't even understand or they know what CrossFit is. But High Rocks, they know everything about this little cult that is called High Rocks. But well, if I can give my honest view about it, I I might be doing it one day. Why not? Because it seems funny if you do it with a partner. But I see it that, I mean, after my experience in martial arts, in playing other sports, or riding bikes, or let's say CrossFit and Olympic weightlifting and others, I think that for me, Hyrox is missing the that you need a skill. There's no skill involved there. Everything is just like you need to just run, be a runner, and then these very basic movements. It's like it's about how can you manage your conditioning. That I'm not saying that I'm not going to win if I compete. So let's say if you want to go compete and win, I'm sure you have to put a lot of effort. But somehow I find that it's missing these things that I like. That is, you really need to put some effort in improving in certain skills, and maybe also the randomness and the surprise about CrossFit workouts. That, for example, when we do a CrossFit competition, most of the events are people don't know until the day before or 1 week. So it's not that you can just prepare and be ready. So basically, you have to be good at everything. That's part of the detractors of CrossFit, right? That they say you cannot be good at everything, and they're not wrong either. But that's what makes it even more fun. This is something that I like more. But let's not get it too much into the CrossFit. Is just into the Hyrox now. Let's just burn Hyrox. So sometimes I think that it's more like a trend, right? But again, I mean, if you rock your boat, it's cool. I mean, it makes you give some purpose, and if it's your tribe and everything, whatnot, yeah. The only thing is like it gets a little bit annoying with everyone who has not done anything ever, and then become like high rocks. Then you see all the Instagrammers that they just go there, and I can tell you right now, I was there, I was just sitting, and I was just trying to enjoy it. And then boom, one of the heats started, and then it starts with a run, 1 kilometer run. I mean, if you guys don't know, it's like basically 8 stations followed by 8 kilometer run. You start with a run, and then you go to a station. That the first station is what is a skier. Then you run another kilometer. The next station is I remember something like maybe rowing. The next station is like a sandbag lunges, and then you run 1 kilometer, and then the other one is farmer's walk, and then 1 kilometer, and then something, and then you end with uh, wall balls or to a target. And then the first round, I saw, boom, everybody start running, and everybody was walking from the first kilometer. So I start screaming, "Hey, run, run! You're supposed to run!" And then in between the running and getting to the station, they were walking, or vice versa, they walk. I understand that you're tired, but this is a competition. You need to put your shit together. You cannot just be there. And some people say, just to have fun. Um, anyway, that's what I see. I see people that they just want to take for the pictures, and then you see their Instagrams, and they just like basically it seems like they just went there for the pictures and for the fashion and whatnot. Um, well, yeah, I guess it's a hype. Let's see for how long this hype extend. I think it's just now like about 8 years. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Interesting how this event became so big here in Singapore, and then I don't know for how long it's going to go. Okay, one point that is worth mentioning is the amount of good-looking people. Of course, I would say from my side, the girls, but I mean, I guess you can see good-looking guys too. I saw a lot of people who are not prepared, that they shouldn't be doing it. I know that you guys, you want to be part of it, but instead of you looking like a fool walking on the first kilometer and then not being able to push the sled, just wait for 6 more months, train, lose some weight, build some strength, then you join the competition. So you can enjoy what a competition is, not just like feel like shit and feel that you're going to die. You know what I mean? What brings my thoughts to the third point on this podcast, or second, no, I think it's third. That is looking at everyone. And actually, I just saw one couple, one guy and one girl. I'm not saying that they're a couple, but they were like participating together. They look pretty young. And then I saw on their shirts, it says NUS. So they were from the university and they look like kids. And they were actual kids, like maybe on their early 20s, maximum 24, maybe maximum. And then I start to think that I wish that my girls at home could choose a sport, because I think everybody needs to choose a sport, not become an athlete, professional athlete, but if that helps, why not? But you need to pick up sport because sports teaching sports teach you a lot of things. It teach you discipline, effort, discomfort, how to deal with discomfort, how to be a good loser, like a good sportsman. Helps you how to teach you how to deal with pressure. Um, Maybe build some confidence, and also builds competence, if you know what I mean. Like you know that in order to get to a goal, for example, you start becoming like a track runner, you know that you need to start training your legs, training your cardiovascular capacity. Then it makes you competent in that domain, right? So then you start learning how to become good at something. You have to do it many times. You become able to do physical stuff that some people are not. And that's pretty good. And then it helps with your longevity. And all these things that I just mentioned before, it will help people to face life, to face when you enter university and you're in a new environment. It helps you to cope with work better, or with relationships and with friends. Since, for example, like I mentioned before, once you start engaging into difficult activities, then a lot of difficult stuff in life doesn't seem as hard as sometimes you think, because you are used to do difficult stuff. And that's why I always think, and even yesterday, I was telling, not yesterday, Sunday, because today is Tuesday, I was telling the girls, we were at the having dinner, and I told them, hey, why you guys haven't choose a sport? I mean, you should choose a sport. Why you don't get a sport? But well, I mean, Nadia mentioned that she's doing some track running twice a week because it's part of school. But Sydney, that just got into poly, she's not doing any sport. She used to do a ballet once or twice a week, but she quit it because whatever reasons. But she hasn't choose a sport. And well, if I were their biological dad, I will from early. I would just, even if it sounds bad, I would just put them against the wall, telling them that choosing a sport, um, there's no conversation. There's no negotiation. They have to choose one. Of course, a sport of their choosing, not me. I'm not going to put them to play football or hockey or martial arts, but they have to choose a sport of their liking and they have to do it. Whatever they do it a lot or less, but they have to do it. The bad part is, since, I mean, they are not my actual daughters per se, I would say. I mean, I care about them as they are my own, but I understand I was not there on their early life. So the only constant so far is Cheryl. So I'm just like a extra coming here. People say little by little it will come. But for now, I have to be careful to what I say, but that's one of my wishes. So I try to lead with example. So that's why we always, Cheryl and I, we're pretty active. We play tennis on the weekends. We do CrossFit in the mornings. Once or twice a week, I try to go in karate. Maybe next week we will be going to a gymnastic gym. Um I think the girls want to check it out, so maybe that will be my way of pushing them to start doing exercise, and make you part of another tribe. You can make good friends like me. I have make a lot of friends because of my sports, my martial arts, my CrossFit. That's what everybody that I know that came from those worlds, because I move country to country. So my only constant when I go to another country, I look for a Kyokushin dojo or a CrossFit place. And if I found a gym, I join the gym. But if I can find a CrossFit, even better. But even you can make friends at the normal gym. It's a little bit harder. But that's why I want my girls to do sports. I think everybody should have sports. It should be part of your life. And to close this topic about sports, I think sports is not a lot of people think about medals. You run a marathon, they give you a participation medal, or everything, they give you a medal, even if you were the last one. So I don't think it's about a medal. If I make a competition, I'm not going to give medals for the last ones. So sports is not about just the medals or the competition aspect or the aesthetics, but it's about, it helps you to prepare, for life. It helps. And life is not easy. And now that I'm getting to 45s, 46, 50s, can tell you, man, things don't become easier. Everything is like going up the hill. And since I mentioned 45, yeah, indeed, last week was my birthday. Monday, 23rd of March was my birthday. It was my 45th birthday. Was very nice. I would say very different birthday. I spent time with my girls. When I say my girls, I mean Cheryl, Sydney, and Nadia. Those are the girls of my life. I didn't spend with my other girls that are my mom and my sisters. They are on the other side of the world. Um, but they send me a message. I guess that's a good thing. A lot of friends also. In the previous video, I thought about how I feel at my 45s. So, yeah, man, I'm 45. I'm in a blink of an eye, I will be 50. And again, birthdays make you reflect about things, whatever you want or not. And things that I reflect is about how my life is, and how I'm putting so much importance in the family side. And when I say my family side, I'm not talking about my siblings or my mother, but about the family that I have to make, because that's what I explain to people when they don't want to leave their country, or they don't want to go and rent a place and live far away from their parents because I miss mommy. Sometimes I tell them, dude, you're a grown ass man. You're 26 years old. It's not that you have to leave home, but you need to find that place that makes you uncomfortable, yes, because eventually you have to make your own family. Making your own family means finding a partner, a boyfriend, a wife, whatever you want to call it, having kids or not, maybe. That's not the point, but you have to make your own family, your own circle, right? I mean, you can stay with your own parents, but eventually they will leave. Usually they leave before you. And now that I get 45, I'm putting more effort into family than into other things. I mean, sports and health. Yeah. So I'm happy. I have another news. I will tell you in a little bit. Then on the weekend after my birthday, actually that is Nadia's birthday, 13 years old. She's a big girl now. We went to Thailand for a wedding. So it was pretty cool how a lot of people get together for a wedding. Everything is love and laughs and friendship. But then a lot of people get a divorce later, right? So I just tried to put in perspective, and I was making fun with Cheryl that I wish that all these people that get married don't do it very early on age, like very young. And then they can figure out what they want. So things like these decisions come naturally, because so much effort is to bring all your friends and people wishing you the best, and your parents are there, your uncles, all your family members, the amount of money that you spend there. Then at the end, you decide to divorce, and all this love, all this friendship, all these things, then then what happened, right? I don't know. So yeah, I start to think about those things, and well, also I like to make fun of things, and also that happiness is simpler than everybody thinks. It's most of the times it's not that you have to have a big house or a lot of cars to be happy. I don't think the purpose of life is to be happy. Maybe there's not even a purpose of life at all. If you see on the macro in the universe of things, I mean, maybe there's no purpose of life, but it's not about being happy. But if you're looking to be happy, it's not that hard. I mean, you just have to, I don't know, find a purpose maybe, and spend less money in things that you don't need. Try to do things that you love more often, and things will come. Find people that you love around you. What brings me to the second point, that after the wedding, Cheryl said yes, and basically we decided to get married. So people say that, yeah, we got engaged is the word. So yeah, we're engaged. Um, I don't want to do like people do, that we have to wait 1 year and prepare the wedding and invite everyone. No, we're not going to have a wedding, like a religious wedding, maybe a small party. All that money that is spent on things that I think doesn't add value onto for certain to an extent, of course, or at least not for me. Then I think I will use it. I told the girls that we will use it to make a nice trip to Mongolia or to Yellowstone, somewhere in Colorado. Me, the three girls, we go. We spend as a family. We go eat nice food, have a drink, see nice places, and basically experience things together as family. I think that's way nicer. This thing came pretty easily to me. That's what I say, that when people are young and they just try to push to get married because sometimes it's part of what society or their parents tell them, and they feel like if they don't know, they yes and no, and after a while they get married too young, they get divorced, there are dramas about it. Sometimes they hesitate to if they should do it or not. They don't know if they're doing the right thing. Well, in my point right now, I mean, I'm not, I'm sure I'm pretty old, but I didn't hesitate. I knew what I was doing. I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to spend as much time as I can with with my girls, as I always said. Um, be a good example for my other two girls, my two daughters that I like to call now. So there was no hesitation on that. And I guess what it just took, I don't know, experience, just took time, just took who knows what, but it just came to me like this. And I said, oh, I'm going to do it. And I'm not a religious person. But on the other hand, as a company, as an enterprise, in places like Singapore, the union of marriage helps a lot financially and for some stability as a foreigner in another country, and a lot of other perks that, as a company, it gives a lot of perks. So why not? Why not to change something that it was, we were living practically as a married couple, then we just make it official. Thanks. And people say, well, marriage is not easy, and a lot of people, some people come and congratulate me, and it feels weird when they give me a congratulation about marriage. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, it's a weird congratulation feelings. It's like if we did something like, wow, like something out of the blue, something amazing. And I don't think it's something amazing. It's just like we decided to do something. So it feels kind of weird, but I appreciate people. Maybe I guess I understand they know things that I don't know. Then it put you to reflect in life, and they say it's not easy, and they say that now the real life starts. That's kind of weird because we have been living together for more than a year, and we have been together for over four, acting like a family, doing Chinese New Year's, going to Costa Rica, meeting parents and extended family. So I even give money to the girls. We pay bills together. So we live like a married couple. But then part of the reflections is like maybe they're right. Maybe it's a different now. The mindset changes. But no one said that life is easy. I mean, if you think about it, world is this world is changing. And things are not going to get easier now. Now, if you pay attention to the war that is happening, and then I don't know, man, humans are weird. I don't know, all these conflicts in the Middle East, in in countries that some of the conflict starts because of religion or because who was there first and who came second. Um, I don't know. Sometimes I can say a lot of things, but it doesn't make a lot of sense in my head. That is for an example. This is a very basic example, and you can extrapolate, and maybe it's a minimal thing. Well, I was born in 1981. I was born in Costa Rica. I I didn't choose, I guess, and I'm just because I was born in Costa Rica. I'm Costa Rican, and Costa Rican is a Catholic country, so I became Catholic, right? So basically, they told me to behave in a way, being that I have to say that I'm proud, of course, being Costa Rica and believing in Christ. So that's what I learned. That's what I was exposed to. So from a perspective, they told me that everyone outside Costa Rica is different, and then my world, my side, where I live is better than the rest. I have to be proud of being Costa Rican, and someone outside Costa Rica is different. Same with religion. Like basically, they're telling you that all the other gods are fake because the real God is the Christian God. I mean, they're not telling you like that, or maybe sometimes they do. I'm not a religious person, but basically that's what it is. I believe in Christ because I'm Catholic. So the rest of the gods are the fake gods, including the polytheist religions like the Indians and others, including a lot of things in Asia like Buddhism. They're not 100% sure if it's a religion, but that's what makes you everything. And that's how you grow. So the people who were born in Iran have the same, the people who were born in England. But at the end, uh, what is the difference? It's just the context that we're living there. is good or bad, I don't know. And doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because for them, they told them that the real God is Allah, is not Christ. And then if you're born in Israel, let's say on the Jewish side, then who's Christ? What you guys are talking about? This is God you're talking about. This is not the chosen one. And then they talk about the same of the other one. So anyway, it's a very, very weird times in the world with war and fear and these power struggles, ego and greed and different tribes. And it's kind of the same story that you hear, that you read in stories and in history. When I was at school, you hear about First World War, Second World War, or the conflicts in other countries and the Nazis doing the crazy shit and the guys who kill all these people in Cambodia in the Vietnam War. And it seems like history repeats itself. Same thing with the Gulf War in the 90s. And I don't know, it's like, and I always hear or see in movies that you have to remember history so you don't repeat it. But it's coming over and over and over again. I don't know. And, and the funny I said, is that you see the news and you talk people and say like, oh man, I hope that the Third World War doesn't explode or doesn't start soon. But the way I see it, with the closing of the Strait of Hormuz is, I mean, there in the Middle East, a very stretched, narrow piece of water that all the tankers have to pass there. And they say that because of that, a lot of logistics and vessels are stuck there. So a lot of parts of the world, they're not getting oil for cars or to manufacture other stuff and other goods. So that's already, it's already acting worldwide. It's affecting everyone in prices, and it's going to affect power, because if you generate with petrol, it will affect goods, it will affect food, it will affect a lot of things. So not just because there are no like atomic bombs doesn't mean that there's no war, and the whole world is affected. Here in Singapore, we live nice. I mean, we're not scared of being bombed or anything yet. Let's hope not. But you hear people talking about the prices of gas and a lot of things. People are start to panicking eventually. So the government is trying to tell people, to relax. So the way I see it, I mean, it seems like it's like a cold third world war. Third World War, cold, like the Cold War, that it was like a conflict without actually fighting. But in this case, there is actual bombs in between a lot of countries, bombing each other, missiles. But there's no like a big boom. Hopefully, it doesn't happen. But everybody's affected. So to me, it seems like a world war already. World War III. Sounds bad. Well, whatever you call it, think about it. Because the First World War, it was called the Great War. And they just changed it to First World War after Second World War, or around there. I don't know when it happened, but they did change the name. They rebranded. And it was called the Great War back in, from 1914 to 1918 or something. It was called the Great War. And then Second World War started in 1939 to 1945 or so. Then around there, I guess they put the name of First World War and Second World War. So let's see when do they name this war. I don't know why they didn't call World War to others. Let's not stay too much in this topic, okay? Let's close with something more positive. So let's bring some good advices, some good points to close that it will apply for me, for you, and for everyone. And let's say things like keep building your team. In my case, let's keep building this podcast, this community, let's say. Keep training, keep yourself active, find a sport that you like, make the people around you get into sport, or not just into sports, maybe activities like learning how to play piano, violin, or arts, or painting, so like any hard, difficult activity that needs to learn a skill. Even running. Why not go to start running marathons? Take care of your people, surround yourself by smart people, or hopefully people better than you can help you grow. And, and I don't know, be serious about things that you like. Put some effort in things. Things are not easy, so you need to suck it up and figure it out. Um, I don't know. I mean, motivate, yeah, but you cannot be always motivated. You need discipline for it, and yeah, that's a good start. From my side, I will have been thinking that maybe I should start getting guests like I did before. Maybe I should poke in my TikTok. Maybe I should find some people there, some other non-famous people like me who wants to come and talk, and maybe we will find interesting things about their life, and it doesn't show this monologue that is just you guys listen to what I say, but also we can have a debate about different points of life, different points of view in life, or just hear like a nice stories from other people, funny stories. Like if you guys have followed my other channel with Jorge, we have this podcast in Spanish. Maybe I should repost all those podcasts with subtitles, so maybe you guys can see it, because not everybody speaks Spanish. Anyway, let's hope that the history doesn't repeat again, and let's hope that everybody becomes smarter, less greedy, or who knows what. Like, put your shit together. Maybe you guys have to learn that if you believe in God, maybe it's the same one. You just don't know that the guy who is in Israel has the same God that you. He was born about in the same area near Bethlehem, so maybe it's the same one. These people, these Muslims, Christians, and Jews, they all claiming different gods. Maybe it's the same one. So just for the good of everyone, put your shit together, stay strong, keep moving, be creative, and I guess see you guys very soon